So now that you've done that, we'll continue with part 2 of this presentation. In this lesson, you will find an unknown vocabulary in college material, and you'll create tools to expand your development. I want you to see if you can answer this question, and I got this from a psychology textbook. After initial conditioning, an unconditioned stimulus is presented in absentia with the conditioned stimulus, and the conditioned response is gradually circumvented. This change in behavior is called what? This is a typical type of question that comes up from textbook reading. And I don't know if you've ever encountered this type of phenomenon, but sometimes students will actually study very hard for their test only to come to a question like this. And the problem isn't that they haven't studied. The problem is they don't really understand what the question is asking. And that is oftentimes because they don't get the vocabulary. So do you know these words well enough to answer the question? Do you know the word conditioning or stimulus? Because those words are specific to the discipline of psychology. But this word in absentia and this word circumvented, those are regular, everyday academic language. And when I say everyday, that means in academia, in college, those are everyday words that a lot of students coming into the class that you're taking do not understand. So the other problem with it is that your professors think you know these words because they know them, and they don't get that maybe you're not familiar with these words. So building your vocabulary is one of the most important things that you can do to be successful in college. In fact, if I wanted to give you an IQ test and do it quickly, the quickest way for me to get that kind of data on a large group of people is to give you a vocabulary test. Building your vocabulary helps you do well in any academic work. There are things that you can do, and you'll be required to do some of these things during class. For example, the more you read, the more you encounter academic words. So part of what you'll be doing for me every week for this class is extra reading. And you don't just read, you read more, and you read a lot. That, number one, will help you build your vocabulary. Another thing that helps is to not just make a list of the words, and sometimes people will experience this in their K-12 schooling, that on Monday they get a list of words and they work with those words Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, and on Friday they have a vocabulary test. And then on Monday they start a whole new list of words, and really all they've done is look at the list and take some tests over it. You can't do that, and studies have shown that when we look at people who study vocabulary that way, as opposed to people in another group who are doing things with vocabulary to practice it, the practice group does much better on vocabulary tests. I put the word play on this, Prezi, because playing is a way of practicing, and that means turn things into a game. Like bingo, and we will have done one of these in class, so you'll see. Making a crossword, there are plenty of online tools that you can use to actually make a crossword puzzle. The great thing about that is you can later use the crossword puzzle as a test prep. So you make the crossword puzzle to learn the words, and then you set it aside for a couple of weeks and try and fill it in as your test prep. You can hold an art gallery. You can play a word game and quiz yourself. You can set a goal to use new vocabulary words 3 times throughout the day so that you actually use it in kind of a use it or lose it type of mentality. There are online tools you can use to make a movie. There are ways that you can create things like plays where you actually create a skit or a dialogue between people that uses 3 to 5 new words. You can create a gallery using maps. You can keep a vocabulary journal. This is a excellent idea. I'm going to zoom in on this because you can use this in your declared class, your co-enrolled class. You can start writing down words that you come across and writing down the meaning and where you found that information. These are really great tools. There's also some things that you should do besides those kinds of tools, like, for example, creating note cards. This is one thing you'll be doing for me, so you can check Canvas. But one side would be the word, and the other side would be information about that word. The definition, the part of speech, maybe an example paragraph. Maybe you draw a picture or you find a picture to help you with the word. Here's some examples of things that students have used. In this case, this person used color as a meaning marker. Here is an example of a vocabulary journal that somebody used. They just kept a running list. All of these are really helpful tools. I've also put on Canvas some websites, and they're on here as well, but you can see where those are on Canvas. The point is, the more you actually do with the words, the better off you will be and the more likely you are to learn them. Now I want you to continue on with the Canvas question, and then there will be some activities for you to work on.